Hey guys, this is Joel from the Fincastle Pokemon Gym. Here's a question for you. Have you ever built a deck that just ticks you off? I mean, not one that is a jerk stall deck that you made just to aggravate other people, but one that teeters on being something amazing, but is just a note off. Well, I've done that. I've created the hardest deck to play since one Logan and I created in the lead up to the 2012 Worlds in Hawaii. Now, I've put a link to an archived article about that deck below if you want to read about it, but basically in 2012, we built a deck that was literally unbeatable, but every choice over the first 3 to 5 turns was a game deciding one, and it literally stressed us out to play it. As we practiced it, we just didn't feel it was worth the risk at Worlds. I mean, he was only 11 years old at the time, for heaven's sake. Just thinking about that deck gives me heartburn still. Now, if we had thought of that rascal sooner, we would have been playing it at Nationals that summer before Worlds, and who knows what would have happened with that one. He surely would have tormented the junior division with it because there were no Japanese competitors at our Nationals back then, and American juniors would have had no idea how to play against it. And the Masters, I probably would have had a dang stroke playing it. But I said all that because today's deck kind of feels like that deck. And probably in reality, it's not quite as hard. It centers on the massive Tyranitar EX from Obsidian Flames. And when I don't screw playing this deck up, it's pretty amazing. But what I do over the opening several turns always seems so consequential. In games I think that are going horribly, sometimes I sweep and come back and win. And others seem so close, and I see a play that would have sealed the game 3 turns ago if I'd made it then. But I've literally played some games where it feels like I'm doing nothing right, and then I get like a 4 prize card turn, and I win. So the idea is to get multiple Frostlass into play, get damage on your opponent's ability Pokemon, and clean up with Tyranitar, who with his massive HP can really only be one hit by like Raging Bolt, Chinpow, maybe a kind of freaky play in Gardevoir, and a fighting Pokemon, which he's weak to, but there's really not anything in the format right now that's very good that's fighting. My original version of this deck was much easier to pilot, as it worked off of Irida and the Gengar with the ability Netherworld Gate. Irida would let you get your Frostlass line much easier, and once you had a Gengar discarded, you had a Pokemon you could recycle for the rest of the game to keep damage in play on your bench. But shifting the list to post-rotation is kind of what made this deck more difficult. I replaced Gengar with the Munkidori, which meant having to add a few Dark Energies, which is a plus for overall damage because that's more damage you can put onto their side with this ability, but it also means you have to have a turn where you can attach a Dark Energy there. That also meant shifting it from mostly fighting energy to a mix, which hurts the consistency of Tyranitar a little bit. Overall, the Munkidori just makes the decision-making process a little bit harder. You have to decide when to play him down. You don't want him down as soon as you get Frostlass in play. So there's that kind of indecision about when's the best time to get him down. Having to attach there, like I said, kind of gets you off rhythm in terms of your attachments from your hand, so it gets a little bit clunky, leads to attacking with Mountain Hurl more, and not having Irida made getting the Frostlass out a little bit harder, so I went with the TM Evolutions to do that. But then that kind of complicates it as well. A lot of times you end up with a Cleffa, which you can play your TM on, but then you have to make the choice, do you draw with Cleffa, or do you use the attack and evolve? You also have to attach an energy to do that, so that throws that off again. That leaves me thinking sometimes maybe Mimikyu would be better, or maybe Klefki. In general, you want 2 Frostlass in play. If you can get 3, that's amazing. But if you do get 3, but that makes the damage accrue on Munkidori pretty quickly, so you can knock him out really before he serves much of a purpose in here if you're not careful. So I changed the A-Spec from Maximum Belt to boost the damage to the Sparkling Crystal to try to address that awkward energy scenario that kind of pops up with this deck. I've also played around with the number of Dark Energies, adding Luminous Energy to it. I've thought about no Dark, maybe just straight Luminous for all of those. And who knows, maybe Crispin in here might be the fix to that. I'm just presenting the deck like it is at the moment because there are a lot of ways that you could make changes to this. So now that you've heard all of the struggles with the deck, there's not too much else to cover. I think this is one of my first builds trying both Drayton and Grusha. Drayton is pretty good at hitting the Frostlass and the Tyranitars when you need them after you've already used your TM evolution. And because he says trainer, you can use him to get a supporter for the next turn, an item, or a tool card, so that versatility is awesome. Grusha is a solid hand refresh, especially early when you might not have an energy in play yet. She lets you draw a few more cards. I know I've switched between Terra Orb and Ultra Ball multiple times. Right now I'm currently on the Terra Orbs because, as I said, a lot of the evolutions early happened with the TMs. So building this one has obviously been a journey. Playing it still can be sometimes. But if I didn't enjoy the challenge and the deck, I wouldn't fool with it. So I think it's just time to get to some games. This first game is going to be against Charizard EX with Noctowl and I think Terapagos EX. And my advice to anybody that's trying to get into the format is just try to get in some games against Charizard, get good against beating it. And once you can do that, it's easier to kind of start to deal with some of the other things. You are going to run across that a lot. I went first on this one, got a couple guys down attached to Monkey Dory. They went back to their turn, got 2 Terapagos down, and not much else. I think they have a pretty clunked up hand. So back to me. I evolved to the Pupitar. I get down to Snorunt. I already have the energy on Monkey Dory from the first turn, so I'm just going to use my TM. And I'm going to evolve to one of the Frostlass and go ahead and get that Tyranitar. Gets me in a pretty good spot. I don't have much of a hand, but again, they seem to have a pretty bad opening hand, and they luckily Iono me into an amazing hand. And I actually don't get to attack and don't knock out my Monkey Dory, which puts me in an amazing spot. I'm going to get my Sparkling Crystal down on that Tyranitar so he can attack. And with Arven, I'm going to go and get Rescue Board, and I will get a Rare Candy out to try to get to that second Tyranitar. I'm going to attach Rescue Board, attach to the Larvitar, since I have that crystal on the Tyranitar EX. Go ahead and burn this Palfin. Don't really need much else. I'm going to get another Snorunt down so I can maybe try to get to 3 Frostlass. And then with the damage on my Monkey Dory, I can one-shot this Terapagos EX and take 2 prizes, which is my deck taunting me, telling me I should have Ultra Ball in here so I could get 2 more Frostlass. But they come back with Charizard, hit me for 240, and then everybody takes a little damage from my Frostlass. But because I got that Terra Orb, I can get up my Tyranitar EX without having to toss anything and go ahead and Rare Candy to my second Tyranitar, which puts me in a pretty good spot. I will use Drayton to get my second Frostlass out, and if I had an Ultra Ball, I could get the third one, but I have a Nest Ball, so the struggle is real. I will use Monkey Dory, and I'll go ahead and get 30 damage moved over to their Charizard EX. And then I will punch him for 250. With that damage, it gets him up to 290. And then he's going to take 2 damage from Frostlass moving over to get to 310, where he's only 20 damage away. I'm pretty sure my opponent made the right move here. They did get to a second Charizard, but they didn't have a Turo to get this one out of the way. So they just kept it active to knock out my Tyranitar, and my Frostlass are going to take it out, coming back to me. So even though they even the game up, they're going to go behind 2 more off of these 2 prizes. Get a Grusha and a Earthen Vessel. You send up the Manaphy. I'm not sure that was the right choice either. Pretty clear they were pretty confused about how to approach this deck, and sometimes I'm confused playing it, so I guess that all works out. Off that Vessel, I go and get a second Fighting. Don't see anything else to do there. I'm going to go ahead and Iono, cut their hand down. Got that Clef. I'm going to put him on the bench just so I have that extra free retreater, just in case they try to trap me or something. Because they sent up that Manaphy, I'm going to force their hand again. Use Monkey Dory to move damage there and just knock it out. They only had like 20 damage left, I think, on it. They do the only thing they can do. They send up the Charizard. It's the only thing left they have that can take a hit from Tyranitar. They do. Gets him to 270, and then he'll go to 290 with Frostlass going over to their turn. They do get a Turo scenario there, pick up that Charizard. There's really not much else they can do. They didn't have another Charmander down. They got a full bench, played a lot. Got Terapagos down, hit me for 240. Pass back to me. I'll do the plate thing. I'm not going to play any more cards, so I've got the knockout in hand. So I knock out the Terapagos and take my last prize card. This second game is against Flareon EX, I think with Leafeon in it. I did go first. I got a smattering of my basics out. On their turn, they did the same thing, got some energies down. So I'm going to play Arven and go ahead and get Rare Candy because I've got Tyranitar in my hand. And I'm going to get that Evolution TM. And that's because there's a lot of abilities on that side, and I think I'm better off now to go ahead and get some damage on those guys with my Frostlass. So instead of attacking, I'm going to vault to 2 Frostlass because that will get 20 damage down on everybody that has an ability on that side, and that's important in this matchup because Flareon is 270, and that will get any Flareon they put into play, which does not have an ability already within range of my 250 that I can do with Tyranitar. They evolve both of their EVs into Flareon, come up and they use that Carnelian attack for 280, I guess trying to get as much damage on me as possible. I get 20 more damage on everybody coming back to me. On my turn I top a Poffin. I'll play the Poffin. Just going to get one more Snorunt down. I want to leave room for a Monkey Dory if I can. I'm going to Iono. With Iono, I get a pretty good mix of stuff. I get that second energy for my Tyranitar. I'm going to get Monkey Dory down. Really love to have that third Frostlass, so I don't have him. I don't have any damage on my bench, so I can only hit him for 150. But then the Frostlass is going to kick in, and I'm going to take out a Hoot Hoot. They're playing an older Hoot Hoot that has an ability there. On their turn, they used our Prime Catcher to swap out their Flareon, and then a boss to grab back up my Tyranitar and knock it out and charge their other Flareon. So we'll spread a little damage again with the Frostlass and get a Poffin, taking out the Rotom that time. I draw a Dark Energy. I got an Arven, which I'll use to get Rare Candy, and my Sparkling Crystal. Kind of behind on my energy attachments this time, so we'll use the Earthen Vessel, toss this Poffin. I'm just going to grab 2 Fighting Energies here. We'll attach Fighting to the active and Sparkling Crystal so he can hit for his full amount. And we will Lightning Rampage for 250. Take out that Flareon. Take 2 more prizes. Get that last Frostlass out of my prize cards. They send up to Mew, and we're going to send some more damage their way with my 2 Frostlass. It's getting a lot of things in range on their side. They hit me with the Carnelian again for 280, and then back to me. My Frostlass are going to take out one of their Noctowl. And I can win this game a couple ways after I draw. Don't really need to evolve this Frostlass, but I did anyway. I'm going to attach the Dark Energy to Monkey Dory. That Eevee's sitting down there almost knocked out, so we'll just use Monkey Dory's ability and move some damage counters there and take him out. Like I said, could have taken out the active Flareon, it wouldn't really matter. A lot of abilities in that one, so that made a lot of pretty easy targets. This last match was against Raging Bolt, and it was one of those kind of throw up your hands and holler poop matches. They'd knocked out a Larvitar, a Frostlass, a Cleffa, while I just couldn't get anything going. I finally get to a Tyranitar, put so much damage on them with Frostlass that on this turn I moved damage over with Monkey Dory and took out a Squawkabilly, and then took out their Raging Bolt with my Tyranitar. So I had a 4 prize card turn. Back on their turn, they used that little baby Raging Bolt to kill one of my Monkey Dory. I think at this point I have 170 damage on that 1 Teal Mask Ogerpon. So I put my Dark Energy down, rescue board on that same Monkey Dory. I'm going to move 30 damage over to that Ogerpon to take him up to 200. He's only 210 HP. And then I will attack and knock out this baby Raging Bolt. Take 1 prize. I've only got 2 left, and unfortunately they're not going to give me the pleasure of seeing the Frostlass take out the Ogerpon. They just concede. The matches like that one are real head scratchers for me. There doesn't appear to be any path to win, and then the gates just blow open and you win in 2 turns. True to form, Tyranitar is big, dangerous, and ill-tempered. Now I could show you 2 videos worth of matches with this thing, and almost every one would play out differently. That's what's so frustrating with this one, but it's also why I love the deck. To say it is a challenge is an understatement for sure. maybe it's not the one to play after a night of intense partying, but I really enjoy messing around with this thing. There's room for some tweaks, definitely. I will be adding Ultra Ball back in for probably the 20th time since I started this thing. Maybe for a Puffin and a Pokegear, or maybe a Nest Ball. Just have to try and see what it does. See what you guys can do. Feel free to mention any of your fixes in the comments below. Now, I mentioned in my last video my new podcast, Appalachian Dim Sum. And Randy and I have episode 2 up, this one about Godzilla. So if you're a fan, please check it out. Thank you guys for watching. Any kind of support for the channel is always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and help the gym grow. Until next time, be not afraid. Later.